Because I think this is coming down the line, and I think it's going to be ratified because I think Fine Gael are in favour of it, and they're the majority. My own party, I would like to hear a lot of debate. Never have I heard it discussed at a Fianna Fáil meeting.
Interests. So this is a real and present danger. This is a trade deal with a difference. This is not known as a new generation trade deal for no reason. This is going to change every aspect of the way we live, work, play and die.
Right.
Quite formally, I am appalled at the level and lack of engagement that there has been on this, and how this government went ahead at Halloween, the worst Halloween ever, and signed that agreement and gave the authority to the EU to do so without engaging in a proper, public, meaningful debate and within our Parliament on it. For shame in the year 2016.
We are discussing Ceta. What's the big deal?
So what's the big deal? The big deal is that it includes an investment court. That's something that will allow multinational corporations to sue governments for enacting progressive legislation. It also includes very dangerous provisions that could detrimentally affect many key sectors of the Irish economy, because a key vote is going to be coming up in the European Parliament in early February. We need you to ensure that you engage with MEPs.
Written for and by big business behind closed doors with built-in private court system loaded in favour of multinationals. When they talk about increased competition, what they mean is increased stress on populations both sides of the Atlantic.
It will tie the hands of governments down the line. So I object to that. To me, this is liberalism on steroids. And
the Irish Cognitive Trade Union's position on Ceta is unambiguous. It is a position of outright opposition.
I see this whole Ceta as the icing on the cake for globalisation. It's a cancer. It's bad for people, it's bad for citizens, it's bad for SMEs and for farmers, and it's good for global corporations.
Our concern remains that the Canadians will target the high value market, and that this will have a depressing impact on prices in the beef sector and pig meat sector. On the other hand, there has to be recognition of the fact that the EU-Canadian trade deal provides the potential for increased market access for our dairy exports.
If this is brought through with cheap food coming in from the Canadian-American bloc, cheap low-quality food, the health of our citizens is at risk here in Europe, but also the farmers' livelihoods, and it will decimate rural. There is a term known about politicians, they suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect. And that means that they know so little, they don't realise how little they know. We studied, and copies of this agreement, even if it is that long, has got to be given to each politician and TD in the country, and they should be made actually read right through it.
I would call on Enda Kenny, through his Minister, Mary Mitchell O'Connor, not to ratify this deal in her role and the EU Council of Ministers, to initiate a full and open debate, as my colleagues in the Oireachtas have called for, and to actually, before any further steps are taken, that we actually take time, create the political space to go through the 30 chapters contained in the 1,500 pages in detail and look at them on a sector-by-sector basis. And I believe when that debate happens and that analysis happens, it will be completely and obvious that this deal represents a bad deal for Ireland.
Ceta. We started off by asking the question, Ceta, what's the big deal? I think, having listened to our panel tonight, we know that it is a big deal.